£2,200. Yeah. £399. Is it worth paying extra for the American Fender? You'll already have decided, won't you? You know, in your own mind, what you think. I haven't got a bad word to say about either of these. I really don't. Stick around till the end of this film and you'll find out how you could win. Guitaristas is proudly supported by Gear for Music. Hello, thanks for joining us. Welcome to the Guitaristas. Good to see you again. So this week, another Jazzmaster. If you saw last week, and if you didn't, why not? Only kidding. Last week we reviewed this, didn't we? Oh, look at that. It's a American-made Fender. I can't remember what it's called already. Vintage 2 1966 Jazzmaster in Dakota Red. What a beauty. At £2,200. Yeah. Nice guitar. Hopefully you saw last week's review. Looks bloody great. Sounded, well, I thought it sounded wonderful. But it's a lot of money, isn't it? It's a lot of money. So I had to pull the trigger on a more cost-worthy. Is that even a thing? Cost-worthy? Well, I said it anyway. A cost-worthy alternative, which is the Squier Classic Vibe 60's Jazzmaster. This one in Sunburst, £399. Yeah, it's a lot cheaper, isn't it? So obviously what I'm going to do is I'm going to review this one this week. And as the thumbnail says, unless I've changed my mind, I'm going to find out which we prefer, the expensive one or the cost-worthy one. Yeah, okay, it sounds like a daft question, doesn't it? Obviously, we're going to prefer the expensive one, aren't we? The American Pucker nitrous cellulose one. Well, you know, not necessarily, because there's a lot of different reasons. Some people might prefer the Classic Vibe. Now, so I'll try and curtail the talking a little bit now, so we can get started. What we're going to do today is we're going to do a review, a deep dive review on the Squier, and we're going to be doing a direct comparison with like the neck measurements and the weight and the pickup readings and stuff, and some playing. Okay, you know, towards the end we're going to do some playing on both, and we're going to be able to hear if there's much of a difference, and we might prefer the sound of the cheaper one, mightn't we? So that's what the plan is today. And then to top it all, I'm going to launch a raffle, and you could win one of these, because they're both going to be in the raffle competition. First prize for the expensive one, second prize for the cost-worthy one. Is that a word? I don't know. Yeah, so stick around till the end of this film and you'll find out how you could win either of these. Yeah. Okay, Squier Classic Vibe 60's Jazzmaster. £399, pretty much everywhere. That's pretty much the street price. Squiers don't seem to have gone up much. Still, amazing value. If you've not had a Classic Vibe, you should really try one there. They are amazing value. Hopefully we'll demonstrate that today. Anyway, this one, 3-colour Sunburst, they also come in currently Sonic Blue, Classic White, and this one, Tahitian Coral, which is an extra 30 quid, 429.99 that. These are the standard colours currently here in the UK at least. I know there are specials from time to time worth looking out for, matching headstock versions and so on and so forth. But these are the bog standard ones, available pretty much anywhere, the same price pretty much everywhere. I got mine from our channel partners, Gear for Music. Quick plug for them. The reason I got mine from Gear for Music is because, well, I decided I was going to get this on a Sunday, and I'm quite impetuous. I wanted it the next day. And as far as I know, no one else does next day delivery if you order it on a Sunday, but Gear for Music do. So, yeah, ordered on a Sunday. It arrived Monday morning, and I was able to start filming on a Tuesday, which was important to me. So well done, Gear for Music, for raising the bar there. Some specs. So the Squier here, unlike the American version, this is a gloss polyurethane finish, and the body is made of poplar. Before we go any further, let's weigh it. Right, so I remember the American one weighed 8 pound 2 ounces. This one, poplar, what do you think? 7 pound 13 ounces, which is 3.55 kilos. So a little bit less, and you were probably expecting it to be heavier, weren't you? I mean, I only say that because it's easy to make the assumption that cheaper wood is often heavier than what you'd assume was a better quality wood. American was made out of alder, this one poplar. I know nothing about the comparative qualities or weights of timber, having said all of that. Should we get on with it? So poplar body, maple bolt on neck, exactly the same as the American version. And this is it's got a nice tinted gloss finish on this. And this has got an Indian laurel fingerboard as opposed to rosewood on the American version. And we'll have a closer look at that in a minute. First off, let's have a look at the neck profile and measurements. Okay, here's the neck profile and measurements at the 1st fret. And here's the neck profile and measurements at the 12th fret. Now I'll put those side by side each other on the screen so you can have a look there. There's not a massive amount of difference, is there? The Squier is a little bit narrower at the nut, and the 12th fret in fact, and a little bit shallower at the 12th fret as well, but not a massive amount of difference. The radius of the fingerboard, however, 9.5 inches on the Squier here, as opposed to 7.25 vintage correct on the American one. And I think I mentioned this has got an Indian laurel fingerboard. They're both 25.5 inch scale length. Okay, let's get the strings off and have a closer look at the frets. Okay, that's what the board looks like. It looks quite, it looks not nice. It's not, doesn't look dry like they often do, or not especially dry like they often can. The frets, they look pretty much the same size. They honestly do. I do some close-ups of these frets. I haven't felt any pokey outness at all. And I've been playing this a fair amount actually. I haven't noticed any issues whatsoever. And out the box, the setup was as is. Both of these guitars I've played, I haven't touched. What am I trying to say? I haven't touched the action or the setup at all on either of these guitars. I tend to not do that, as you might know by now, unless I have any issues, and I haven't any issues, so I've left them alone. I've let them be. And they both feel and play fine. Great, actually, I must say. They both got a bone nut. Yeah, Squier got a bone nut. That's what it says in the specs. The headstock on the Squier is slightly smaller than the Fender. I'm just going to grab that now so I can drop in a quick side by side. It's not massive, but it is noticed. This is bigger, this one. And the tuners look the same. Obviously, these are probably licensed ones, probably made. The bridge is falling off. Probably made, I was going to say they're probably made in Indonesia or somewhere, these ones on the Squier. Whereas these, I mean, they might be identical for all I know. They certainly feel the same and they certainly work the same. And you know, they've both got these pressing bushings, or what I really should say is the Squier has got these pressing bushings, same as the Fender, you know, which is really nice. It's a vintage correct thing. Okay, over to the bridge that fell off there. This is the Mustang replacement with the different saddles. Basically, it's still got the pivotty posts. It's the same device. It's just got different saddles, which are a kind of a modification, an upgrade. Many will say on the saddles on the American version, which we spoke about last week. Okay, that pops in there like that. Another. Let's take the whammy bar off. That's exactly the same. It's a push in. Another difference on the Squier is it doesn't have a locking tremolo. Let's grab the Fender. We talked about this last week. It's got a locking device, so if you want, you can set that up so it only goes one way. Okay, which is handy for potential string breakages on string breakages on stage. You know, if you break a string, it won't go wildly out of tune. The Squier doesn't have that. I, however, wasn't using the locking mechanism on the Fender last week when I played it anyway, so it made a lot of difference. Other thing I should mention, the Squier's got the traditional truss rod adjuster up at the headstock, which makes life a lot easier as opposed to the Fender, which has got the butt adjuster down here. Okay. Electronics, to all intents and purposes, identical. I don't know if the pots are the right resistance on this. They should be 1 meg pots there and 500k there on the rhythm circuit. We'll try and find out when we take the guard off, but before we do that, let's take some pickup readings. Right, we'll start on the bridge. Here we go. Oh, 11.3K. Okay. I say ooh because the Fender, I've got the readings here, 7.17K. It's quite a difference. 11.3, 7.17K for the Fender. The inductance of this, yeah, a little bit over half of that, 7.28 Henrys. Let's have a look at the neck. Okay, 6.56K on the Squier. Okay, 6.44 on the Fender. So pretty similar reading for the neck pickup, but much higher reading on the bridge, similar on the neck. And the inductance of the neck is 3.10 Henrys. Before I remove this, I've left the plastic on this pick guard and the Fender in fact as well. And although I've taken it off the pickups, but anywhere else that it's on, I've left it so that the new owner won't have my scratches all over it. Although I have already dinged the Fender there. Yeah, I dropped the screwdriver on it last week, so it's already on its way to being relicked. Well, it's early days. I've still got time to damage the Squier, haven't I? What was the other thing I was going to mention? Yeah, the knobs on the Squier here. It's a shame actually, because I think they they're cheap and plasticky, and compared to lovely screw-on witch hats on the Fender here. Nice torque guard on the Squier. Let's see if I've taken all the screws out. It appears so. Let's see what's hiding under here. Ooh, hello. Oh, you know what? I was all ready to say, oh, there's no shielding, but you know what? There is. Look, there's some shielding there, and shielding paint throughout the cavity. So I'll drop in a shot here of the Fender from last week. As you can see, they've gone to town a little bit more on the Fender, where they've got a copper shielding under there, and they've completely covered the reverse of the scratch plate. But you know, I'm quite impressed that. Do you know what? I didn't expect there to be any. Wiring, obviously, is not nice cloth covered like the Fender is, but it's got a manual Switchcraft-like switch. Now let's have a look and see if these pots. No, they haven't got any identification. They're alpha mini pots, but they've got no values on them that I can see. In the Fender, these are 1 meg pots, and these are 500k. We'll when we plug it in, we'll have a listen and see if we can hear anything. Okay, let's flip that. Let's just pull a pickup up, see if it's the same fundamentally as the Fender one from last week. I'm sure it is. Yeah, comes off. So these are different color bobbins, but as you can see, they're the same kind of wind. In fact, this is neater. The foam on the bottom of the Squier is much neater than it was on the Fender. And I tell you what as well, so a couple of people commented the earth on the Fender was visible. Although it was under the pick guard, I suppose, but it was over the top, whereas this, they have actually drilled a hole. There you go. There you go. That's it, isn't it? Yeah, I've got a lot of putting back together to do before I put strings on, new set of strings, which we'll do now, and then we'll come back and we'll plug it in and we'll play them both and see if they sound any different. See you in a minute. That's what it sounds like unplugged. Sounds all right. And it feels nice, this guitar. First time I picked it up, immediately there was a kind of a connection. It's rawer than the American Fender. It does feel different. It's I'm just going to actually pick that up now and show you, and also you can hear how different they sound unplugged. Listen to this. Quite different. Tighter. I mean, I'm going to say, this sounds better unplugged than that. I mean, that's must be something to do with the wood, mustn't it? or the finish. I don't know, but this is more open. Right, let's see what they sound like plugged in. Same rig as last week, as I pretty much always use these days, so you get a proper comparison between guitars. Princeton 65, that's what it looks like. It's got an aux box on it so that I can, you know, put it onto the edge of breakup. And it's kind of fairly finely tuned, so that some pickups push it over the edge and some are just kind of teetering on it. And some, in fact, are, oh no, I'm not going there. So what are these like? The board, obviously, I've got, same as last week, a clone and a fuzz bender, which I'll probably use in a bit. And I'll show you on that camera down there, if and when I do. Right, okay. What are we doing? Oh, we've forgotten to plug the amp into the pedal board. Bear with. Down, 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 down. I would have played it if I knew where the notes were, but I didn't. I thought it sounded like that. Okay. It's shouty, isn't it? That is on the bridge pickup, and remember that red over 11K. Yeah, very. See what the neck sounds like. Nice. Let's compare. Sound different, don't they? Let's put a loop down and, you know, muck around and see what happens. So these chords, playing an A minor and a C. An F and a D minor. Quite nice in the middle. So those chords. If you put those in a loop, this happens. Recognise it, yeah? One day I'll get a looper that stops when I ask it to. Oh dear. Check my tuning. Well, it's not bad, is it? So the rhythm circuit, I don't think the pot values are different because it doesn't sound any different. I'll show you what I mean. So neck pickup on the lead circuit with the tone and volume fully cranked. And then switch to rhythm circuit. Oh, hang on, no, maybe a bit darker. No, I stand corrected, it is darker, isn't it? And it works. You need, I always think you need a little bit of fuzz on when you roll the tone off anyway. Because it sounds bloody lovely, basically, for no other reason. Same here. Just that's glorious sound, that. It makes me want to play some blues, but I'm not going to. What instead I'm going to do now, I'm just going to do something else which a Jazzmaster inspires, and some of you will recognise it and some of you won't. Okay, I think we'll leave that there. More jamming on the Squier coming up in the Playout Jam, and if you want to hear more of the Fender, check out last week's review. Links in the description box. So, cards on the table, I love both of these guitars. Something about a Jazzmaster. Well, I don't know why I don't play them more often. It's been a while since I had a Japanese reissue Jazzmaster that I sold a couple of years ago now. I didn't play it very often, and I sold it, and then I regret that, quite frankly, because it was beautiful. It was a Sunburst, and it was a Japanese one, and it was, you know, it was lovely. But I sold it. So getting these in has been, it's been a revelation again, to be honest with you, because there's such, you know, quirks aside, they're quirky guitars, but they're really inspiring. This one, so I when I first got it, I was like, oh, I don't know about that. And then the more that I played it and sniffed it, the more that I fiddled around with it, I really started to grow attached to this. And I am massively attached to this guitar, and I'd be really sorry to see it go. But, you know, needs must, I suppose. And then this. £399. You heard them both. You heard, if you agree with me, how good they both sound. They're very different though, aren't they? noticeably different, which is that's a little, well, I wouldn't say it's unusual, but I mean, like if you get two Les Pauls, if you get an Epiphone Les Paul and a Gibson Les Paul, they won't sound that different, will they? Will they? Let me know what you think in the comments. These, yeah, the and the Squier, raw, raucous, and I think that the American one was just more refined, and I've listened to, you know, clips of that back a few times to try and get it fixed in my mind what I think, and I think that they've both got strengths, and I'm not going to say they've got weaknesses, because I don't think they have. If there's a weakness, if I was going to say there was a weakness, I would say that the Fender pickups, or certainly the bridge, wasn't as pokey as the Squier, but that's merely an amp setup thing, isn't it? You know, you can just say, well, just fucking turn it up, you know, and you'll get that, what I'm looking for. It's probably designed to do exactly what it does, you know, certainly being you know, kind of a vintage reissue. It was a fucking jazz guitar, wasn't it? You know, it's not meant to be played like I played it. So I think I don't think you can criticise. I don't think you can criticise either of them. And is it worth paying extra for the American Fender? You'll already have decided, won't you? You know, in your own mind, what you think. You know, and it's gonna split. Maybe not 50-50, but there's going to be a split there. Some people will feel very strongly about either or. Let me try and put into words my thoughts. This, when I first got it, I was like, you know, as I said, I'm not sure. But then the more I've played it and looked at it, I'll be honest, the more I've looked at it, the more I've kind of thought, oh yeah, it's nice. It's nice. it's nice. There's a real sense of achievement. When you get a guitar like this that you've spent loads of money on, I mean, don't forget, I bought this with my own money, £2,199. It's a lot of money. And when you get it, there's yeah. I unfortunately I knew I wasn't going to be able to keep it, but there's a sense of pride that you've achieved that. There's much more of an emotional connection. I don't know. There's just a kind of you know, there's a pride of ownership that comes with it, and yeah, I knew I wasn't gonna be able to keep this because I'm gonna, you know, it's going in the raffle. Now I'll tell you about that in a minute. But to the extent where I was thinking, well, actually, I might get another one. I say this every time, don't I? The trouble is, I'm raffling off what I'm calling dream guitars. They're guitars you want to own, and who wouldn't want to own this? I mean, you know, be honest with yourself. If you're one of these people that are going, oh no, it's the Squier, are you stupid spending that amount of money? Yeah, it is. But who wouldn't want to own it if they could? And if you can afford, you know, to get something like this, you know, save up or whatever. If you can, and you do, you're going to be like me. You're going to be looking at it and thinking, yeah, yeah, I did good. It's a beautiful thing. The craftsmanship that goes into this, undoubtedly, you know, far superior to, or superior, let me say, to the craftsmanship that goes into the Squier. But there is craftsmanship in this, you know. This has been built with care and attention. There's nothing shoddy about this guitar whatsoever. It's built in a place where labour costs are far lower. That's where a lot of the money goes. But there's also a lot of notable differences. You know, the electronics, the shielding, and you know, you've seen it all. But that's not to say that it's inferior. It's just different, and it's just a lot cheaper. And it's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's Paul Whitehouse, isn't it? Oh, brilliant. No, I can't do impressions. It's brilliant that there are these choices. That there's this, a vintage reissue, less than half the price of an actual vintage Jazzmaster. I think that's important. If you wanted to get a 60's Jazzmaster, an original one, you'd be paying a lot more than this. And an affordable option for everybody else, I suppose, really. So brilliant guitars, both of them. You know, I haven't got a bad word to say about either of these. I really don't. And now both of these are going in the latest raffle competition. So the first prize is this American Vintage 2 66 Jazzmaster. And the consolation prize, the second prize, is the Squier CV 60's. That raffle is now live on raffle.com, and the link's in the description box. You could win either of these guitars if you want to participate. It's £5 a ticket. Now that goes to support this channel, to keep the circle of guitars moving, and to facilitate the purchase of things like this, dream guitars that we can review, play, and then, you know, well, on finance really, because I buy all the guitars on this channel. I've never reviewed anything that I haven't paid for on this channel, and in 5 years I've now bought over 200 guitars, and the point is that obviously, you know, that's not a business model that works. I have to sell them again or get rid of them, trade them or whatever, and I've lost money on pretty much everything, you know, that I've bought on this channel. So the whole raffle thing was an idea that I came up with, and it's a way for you to support the channel and to support this thing going forward. I'll raffle some guitars off, and hopefully, and there's no guarantee, but hopefully that'll make the money back and a little bit of extra, which will cover the losses of the other guitars that I'm going to have to sell. I can't raffle everything. I've got a backlog of guitars here that I'm going to start selling on Reverb, like this and this. So those and several other guitars will be going on Reverb soon, and they'll be up for sale, and of course I'm going to lose money on them, aren't I? So hopefully the raffles, they mitigate those losses as well as paying for these things. So if you buy a ticket or a couple of tickets, you'll be supporting the channel, and you never know, you could win one of these. So good luck. If you enter, good luck. Links in the description box, and all the info you need to know about how it works, everything is on there. The raffle's drawn on Sunday, the 7th of September at 8 p.m. British Summer Time, 2000 hours British Summer Time. And if you watch it live on the raffle site, you'll see it'll be all, you know, checking all the tickets. It'll do a countdown till the end of the raffle, then it'll say checking the tickets, and then after a pause, 20 minutes maybe, something like that, it'll announce the winner, and the confetti goes off, and it will say winners have been chosen, and it'll say who the winners are on the raffle.com site, and I will contact you personally and let you know via email that you've won. So check your email, Sunday the 7th of September, and fingers crossed for me that these ones stay local, because everything that I've raffled off so far has gone to the States. And of course there are tariffs potentially involved there. Most of the stuff that I've done has been American. There's only a small amount of import duty attached to American-made guitars, of course. This one, however, Indonesia. Who knows? So, well, hopefully we don't find out. But as I've said, I'll cover all shipping costs worldwide and refund any duties. So, fingers crossed. I'd like this one to go to Brighton or Bognor or somewhere local. But anyway, we'll see. There you go. That's it, isn't it? Let me know what you think in the comments. Which do you prefer? That was the question, wasn't it? The initial question. Which do you prefer, and for what reasons? Let me know in the comments. I think this will create a debate, because I hopefully have shown today that the level of enjoyment playing wise is, you know, they're on par. Some might say that I looked like I was enjoying the Squier more. I might agree with you. I might have been enjoying playing the Squier more. I don't know. Maybe there was something about the rawness of the Squier that appealed to me. You know, they feel same, similar. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Thanks again for watching, supporting the channel, wherever you do. You know, just watching. That's the most important thing. And if you're still watching now, well done. That's really important. That's a real win for me. Come back next week, and I've got an inkling of what I'm going to be doing next week. It's something I've got my eye on. I'm going to see if I can pick it up today. It'll be something interesting. And yeah, link to the raffle in the description box. If you enter, good luck, and thanks for supporting the channel. And thanks to you supporting the channel for watching. Come back next week. Let's do something else. Yeah, see you then, I hope. Ta-ra.